So I'm going to start with a story. This is a friend. He's gone to a premier educational institution in India. He's staying on the campus, and from there, he calls up his father. He says, "Dad, I need 5,000 rupees." So his father asks him, "Why do you need 5,000 rupees?" He says, "Dad, me and a couple of my friends have decided to go and stay off campus in a hotel for the weekend." His father is surprised, "But you live in a hostel. Why do you have to go off campus in a hotel and live there for the weekend?" He says, "Dad, there is a convocation ceremony in our college for the weekend, which means a lot of super seniors are going to come for the degree giving ceremony. They're going to stay on the campus. And over there, as part of the degree giving ceremony, they will also be engaging in ragging of first-year students." My friend was extremely scared and very anxious, but he was not able to communicate this to his father. What happened is that his father said, "Okay, I'm going to give you 5,000 rupees to go and stay off campus, but I'm going to give you 10,000 rupees if you go and stay on campus and be a man." This thought struck with me. What does it mean to be a man? Mard banna, iska kya matlab hota hai? So I tried to decipher. Once I was sitting in a restaurant, and there were a couple of students sitting next to me. And these students, one of them got up and said, boys, got up and said, "I'm going to go and get a cookie. Does anyone want a cookie?" So the other boy said, "Are you a girl that you want a cookie?" He said that everybody started laughing and bullying. Then there was another boy who enjoyed dancing. Unfortunately, he was in a school where dancing as an extracurricular activity was only offered to girls. For boys, they only had sports. So he also, because he enjoyed dancing, would be bullied a lot by his peers. Unfortunately, sometimes even teachers would laugh at him. Then, there is a story of a boy who lost his father at 15 years of age. When he was crying at his deathbed, the relatives came to him and said, "You have to be a man, you can't cry, you're the man of the family now." To understand masculinities, I also tried to understand the different role models that young boys have, amongst them Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate believes that women are partially responsible for their rape. Andrew Tate is a rape accused and also has been accused of sex trafficking. For him, masculinity means that you should not be wearing a mask in a global pandemic. You should not get vaccinated because apparently masculinity immunes you to a global pandemic. Closer home, there is Elvish Yadav. Elvish Yadav often ends up getting into brawls. He has also been accused of getting snake venom in rave parties. When asked for a clarification, he says, "Main to aisa hi hoon." Is violence so natural to masculinities? I started thinking about the kind of movies these young boys are seeing today in our country. Animal has been a huge blockbuster. So essentially, we are telling our boys to become animals. And for those of you who have pet animals at home, animals are sweet, animals are kind, animals are protective. I've had a German Shepherd, Sheru, and he's been the most wonderful gift that God could ever give to me. But the kind of animal that these movies are promoting young boys to become are beasts. They're forcing them to be violent, they're forcing them to dominate, they're forcing them to become alpha males. God forbid you become a beta male. Then, of course, there is Kabir Singh. I was extremely anxious when a student in my class mentioned that she would like to date someone like Kabir Singh. So Kabir Singh is someone who has substance use issues. Kabir Singh is someone who has anger issues. The opening sequence in the movie itself shows him sexually harassing a woman because she was irritating him. And Kabir Singh also, of course, beats up his own partner, girlfriend. A lot of these stories in real life end up with domestic violence. 30% of Indian women experience domestic violence. Is this the kind of masculinity that we are presenting to our young boys? Is this a marginalized kind of masculinity, or is it becoming a dominant form of masculinity today in our society? And what does it mean to be a toxic male? Toxic male is someone who, possibly also alpha male, is the one who embraces qualities of masculinity that include domination, misogyny, homophobia, queer phobia, and of course, violence. If you just look at the newspaper at any point of time, you would see how toxic masculinity affects women, affects children, and affects the entire society. But today I'm going to talk about how toxic masculinity affects men themselves. If you were to just Google men beaten over and look at the responses that come, there are some of the most frivolous reasons that men have been beating other men over. And some of these reasons are asking for payment at parking toll, man beaten to death for not cooking rice, man beaten to death for stealing banana, man refuses to share matchbox, stabbed to death by 2 teens. Then there is the parking spot, of course, fights that often happen in Delhi, differences of opinion, and finally, a man was beaten to death for celebrating the dismissal of Rohit Sharma in an IPL game. My friend, so what did my friend do? My friend took 10,000 rupees from his father. And the reason he did that, he told me was, you know, Itisha, I'm a greedy person who doesn't like money, but that was not the truth. He was afraid of telling his father that, Dad, I am scared, without losing his father's respect, without his father thinking of him as a lesser man. Unfortunately, while my friend did go through ragging experience, fortunately, it was not as bad as this 17-year-old boy in Jadavpur University just last year, 2023. So this young boy was brutally ragged, he was sexually assaulted, and some very homophobic comments were made. He lost his life. Now, the question is masculinity a choice? And if it is a choice, what is the alternative to toxic masculinity? Is there a healthier form of masculinity? Yes. A healthier form of masculinity allows men to emotionally bond with each other and not compete over a title of an alpha male. It is a form of masculinity that allows men to be emotionally dependent on each other. One of the boys, the thing about alpha males is they're very lonely males. So this was told to me by a 16-year-old high schooler. And he said that, you know, ma'am, when I was a young boy, I used to come back home, I used to talk to my mom, I used to hug her. But when I entered teenage, what happened is that my mom stopped talking to me, we stopped engaging in as many cuddles and hugs, you know, the whole concept of tu ab bada ho gaya hai, etc. And that's when I realized that it's not that boys don't talk. We stopped talking to boys. And in that void, people like Andrew Tate come in and take that space. What also happened in that very workshop is I asked girls and boys if they would like to say something to each other. Is there anything that they would like to say? The girls, of course, said that they spoke about the harmful effects of slut shaming. One of the boys got up and said, I would like to tell all the girls to be loyal. Now that struck me. Of course, the mic was taken away by one of the teachers, but that struck me. Because loyalty is a human quality. Why is it that a boy wants loyalty from women in that sense? Like, toxic masculinity allows men to have multiple sexual partners. It doesn't allow women the same right. What I realized is that these two stories are connected. That in teenage relationships specifically, when they don't work out, what happens is that this boy who had this intimacy, the last time this boy had experienced intimacy was probably with his mother before his teenage. After his teenage, the only time he experienced this intimacy is in this kind of a relationship. And of course, teenage relationships, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work out. And that breakup leads to a lot of pain that the boy is not ready to process. It is not just the loss of an intimate other, it is the loss of intimacy that is extremely painful, and that has disastrous consequences like self-harm, acid attacks, slut-shaming, cyberbullying, etc. It is not just young boys, but even older gentlemen and couples. When you see if one of the couples, the husband passes away before the wife, women have developed strong, emotionally satisfying relationships with their sisters, sisters-in-law, daughters, etc. But men have not. So if the wives pass away before the husband does, the husbands are often lonely, leading to many mental health issues like depression. I go on morning walks, and the things that I see most retired uncles talking about is either politics and economics. How limiting. A healthier form of masculinity allows men to be emotionally supportive. A healthier form of masculinity also allows men to experience all kinds of emotions and express all kinds of emotions. The thing about being a human being is that we have different kinds of emotions. There is no good emotion or bad emotion. All emotions are trying to do is that they are trying to communicate something to us. But patriarchy has cleaved emotions into feminine emotions and masculine emotions. When we say girls are emotional, we do not count anger as an emotion. We also offer boys anger to express almost everything. So the sadness, the grief is women's emotion, and the anger is the masculine emotion. Women are claiming their humanity by becoming angry. Are men claiming their humanity by becoming sad, by experiencing sadness and grief, which is so essential to being a human being? There's a quote by C.S. Lewis, and he says, "I sat with my anger for a long time before it told me that its true name was grief." Finally and lastly, a healthier form of masculinity allows young boys to heal their father wound that they are carrying. There is a lot of intergenerational trauma they have been carrying. I am the way I am because my father was like that and his father was like that. And if that way is the way of violence, then it needs to change. My friend could not tell his father, because of the fear of losing his love, his respect, that, "Dad, I am scared, I need your support." But I'm hoping he would make a different choice when it comes to his own children. A healthier form of masculinity allows you to heal. Lastly, when I told my friends I'm going to be talking about toxic masculinity, they told me that you must talk about the effect of toxic masculinity on women. Many women that I know have dated what bell hooks, as a feminist says, intimate terrorists. Because their fathers have been one. Their mothers have been married to intimate terrorists, so they end up, unfortunately, being with intimate terrorists. But this is not a conversation about men saving women or saving women in general. Women are doing that by themselves. They are saving themselves, they're saving their humanity, and they are empowered. This conversation is about men saving their own humanity. If the society is telling you to become an animal, the choice that you have to make over here is, what is that cost of that masculinity? Is humanity the cost of your masculinity that you're giving? The choice rests with you, because masculinity is definitely a choice, toxic or healthy. Thank you.